Hi, welcome to Pauline Interviews. I'm interviewing Mark Dodich, and Mark is an astrologer, well-known astrologer here in Portland, and I'm sorry, I think I screwed up your last name a little bit. Say it for me.
Dodich.
Dodich. It's not that hard. Anyway, I interviewed Mark a number of years ago, so I'm so excited. I had to wait almost a year to find him again, or to get him again, because he's so popular. He does a lot of talks all over the state, don't you, Mark?
Northwest.
Northwest, yeah. So you're in high demand.
I've been blessed, yes.
And you've been an astrologer for a long time.
Well, I've been full-time for almost 25 years now, and then I used to be an industrial salesperson where I was doing astrology part-time, like weekends and evenings. So that's quite a leap to go from being an industrial salesperson to an astrologer.
Well, you must make enough money to follow your passion. How did you get interested in astrology? Is it in your chart?
Well, it is, and the joke at the conferences is that you don't choose astrology chooses you.
Really?
And it won't let you go, you know. It's just one of those things that my personal story is in college, the girls were into astrology. So I thought, well, I'll get into astrology to hang out with the girls. And plus, in my third and final major was sociology. And there I got to study like these African tribes that knew people were coming before they came, you know, pre-telephones. And I thought, oh boy, I can study this stuff in college. There must be something to it. Because my mom had gone to psychics a lot when I was younger. And I thought, oh, this lady's crazy. And anyways, long story short, after you graduate from college, everybody scatters in different directions, but the astrology stayed.
Oh, so for some reason it kind of stirred up something within you.
Yeah, it just, for me what it is I know some people think of it like it's a belief system or a religion or something like that, crazy stuff. For me, it's just a tool of spiritual growth.
And it's science too, isn't it?
Yeah, we argue, it's kind of one of those things, is it an art, is it a science kind of a thing? And the truth is, it's a little bit of both.
You know why I say it's a science, this is my take on it, is that we're mostly water, and the moon affects the tides.
Yep.
And the moon has to affect us because we're water too, right? Isn't that something, some truth to that?
Yeah, and there have been some interesting studies done on exactly that with shellfish opening and closing, not to do with the tides, but to do with the moon phases. See, everybody thought, oh, it's the tides that make shellfish open and close. And they found out, no, after they took them to Northwestern University, you know, by Chicago, and put them in these dark, you know, I don't know, containers. And what they found was they opened and closed based upon the moon. Had nothing to do with the tides.
Amazing. I love that.
Yeah.
It's fun to discover something new.
Yeah.
Now, where do you go to learn astrology? I mean, how do you do, is it self-taught or are there schools of astrology?
There are, fortunately, now. When I first started, you kind of had to learn seat of the pants on your own. It was even hard to get astrology books. In the old days, people even wrote under fake names because of the image that some people have of astrology, like it's, woo-woo psychic stuff.
But this is ancient stuff.
Well, it's at least 4,500 years old that we know of, and there's even cave paintings that are 10,000 years old that have the archetypes in them. So it's really old. I mean, it's been around for quite a long time.
Why was it suppressed?
Well, religion.
So, thank God it came back. And why is astrology important to us in our lives today? How can we use it to affect our lives?
In my mind, it's a great tool. And the thing I love about it is you can measure, are you on track or are you not on track? Did it work like we thought or did it not work? So I love something that's verifiable. Right. It appeals to the logical side of my brain, even though it's a very intuitive type of practice. And the beauty for me is, we all go through life stories, marriages, divorce, deaths, health, all that sort of thing. And astrology can kind of show you with the cycles. It's just really the study of cycles. It's not some weird chart kind of a thing, but it's just study of cycles. And what you can do is you can look and say, well, gee, I have cycles working in relationship houses, or I have things going on in what we'll call let go and let God kind of energies. And if you can see that and say, oh, this is what's going on in my life, and then you can see it going on in your day-to-day life, you still have to go through whatever the story is, but at least you're not off in this emotionally reactive, crazy behavior. again, you still have to live your life, you still have to go through experiences, but you can do it from a place of awareness.
Right.
And you can use it instead of, I'll give you an example, the planet Mars. There's a low and a high to everything. So it's not like astrology's carved in stone, but say you have some Mars moving through some part of your chart. Well, the low level of Mars is I'm angry, I'm impatient, I'm going to tell the cop to go shine his badge when I'm get caught speeding.
That's
the
a nice
higher
way.
level would be to take action, right action to change your life.
Yeah.
And see, we all have that choice. That's the free will part. We can either choose to punch walls with Mars, or we can go exercise. It's very good for physical body. You know, like January, I need to get back in shape again, kind of language. Or there's also the esoteric version, which is we're communicating right action into our life and into our world. And from there, we have the free will to choose. Am I going to go to the low pole, emotionally reactive behavior, be angry, or am I going to take the higher road? And if you're aware, it's easier to take the higher road when life's banging on you.
Yeah, so it's not so much this is set in stone and that you have no control over your life. You do have control over your life, like you're saying.
I like to say that it's kind of like in school. You have required courses and you have elective courses. And on some level, there's certain things that we all must deal with in some way, shape, or form. And for me, the astrology is, well, if I can see what I must do, what I must deal with. For example, the planet Pluto rules death and rebirth. Well, when Pluto comes into your life, you're going to have to let go of something. Now, somebody may die in your life, or you may have a divorce, or you may change careers.
There'll be a change
you may
coming
move
up.
across the country. Something's got to be released. And being aware of that makes it not so scary.
Right. And moving across or doing something like that can be exciting. I think change is exciting.
Not everybody agrees with that, but I agree with you.
So there's so much to astrology. It's kind of complicated, but we're going to focus on one specific area of it called location astrology.
Right. The generic term is location astrology. One of the popular names that everybody knows is called AstroCartoGraphy.
Star mapping? Or something like that.
Something like that.
AstroCartoGraphy. That's how I knew it.
That's the popular name. And
Yeah.
what people don't know is, see, astrology is this humongous field.
Yes.
And in astrology, you've got your regular love and money type things. You've got esoteric astrology, which we'll talk about at some point.
Yes.
Then fits under what we call mundane astrology, where we're looking at your place on planet Earth. We can also look at like earthquakes and Storm Katrina, for example, with this kind of astrology. So this is one of the specialized branches of astrology called locational astrology, of which astrocartography is the most well-known technique that's out there, but there are a bunch of techniques.
Now with astrocartography, if I understand it correctly, let's say I come to you and I say, you know, I need to change my career. I want to go someplace in the world where my career is going to blossom.
Sure. And the first thing I like to dispel the illusion in with people is because they always come and they go, I want the place that's going to have love and money and career and enlightenment and health and everything.
All of that. See, I only asked for one.
Well, I want that too, okay? But the truth is, we have these energetic zones, and some are better for career and some are better for your home. Some might be better for retirement. So you also need to look at where you're at in life. And it isn't also just about moving and living in these places or where you're going to take a vacation. I'll give you an example. I have a very kind of a get famous, do it big line on the East Coast of the USA. And I've experienced that. I've had promotions back there when I was still in the corporate world. I would walk into a metaphysical bookstore and they didn't even know who I was, and they'd ask me to teach a class or something like that.
Really?
It was a be seen kind of a line. Well, I just don't particularly like living on the East Coast. I like the West Coast better, but I still do marketing, and I'm on radio shows back there, and advertising and writing articles, so I'm even still using those lines without actually living there.
Oh, that's great if you can do that. Nice work if you can get it.
Yeah. So basically, the first thing people need to know is it does require fairly accurate birth time. Because if it's more than 15 or 20 minutes off, it will throw these lines off several hundred miles. I don't know that the camera's going to be able to see this, but perhaps
we can get it later.
We'll get it later.
Yeah.
But I'll start with, just to give you an example, you'd get a map like this, and it has lines on it, and these are the most major, most powerful lines.
Right.
And there's a zone, like 300 miles on either side would be considered strong. Well, this is for the Dalai Lama, okay?
What do you mean it's for the Dalai Lama?
So I have the Dalai Lama's birth data.
I understand. This is the Dalai Lama's chart.
So what we do is we'd get the Dalai Lama's birth data,
Yeah.
which is actually readily available, and then we would cast his chart, and from the chart we would then cast these maps.
Right.
And the ones we're looking at now are good for life.
Okay.
And just as an example, where he was born in Tibet, he has the planet Saturn, which rules being the wise elder, the authority figure, stepping into his authority. We have the moon, which is how we deal with people or the public in that perspective. And then Neptune, which is actually rules spirituality and intuition in Tibet. And then when he moved to northern India, he has a Chiron line. So Chiron in mythology was half horse, half human centaur. Very famous teacher of healing. But if you're half horse and half human, you're caught between worlds. So here he was, a Tibetan in exile in Dharamsala, caught between worlds as an alternative solution to the ideal. And then he also has Ceres there, who was the goddess of the harvest. She was the lady of the big scythe chopping down the wheat. Cereal. We got the word
I
cereal
can picture
from
her.
So she was a healer, and so he's got a healing energy in northern India. And then he has Venus, which is peace and beauty. So he went to alternative strategies for healing in northern India when he left Tibet to find grace and harmony and beauty.
Did he go there because somebody made the chart for him, or I know he had a lead?
I'm sure the Tibetans are very into astrology. They have their own form of astrology.
So he did that on purpose.
But also, he was invited, was a part of it too. And see, over in Beijing with China, he has a Pluto line, which is power. So he's dealing with issues of power and control with Beijing. And then there's the node, which is a soul destiny point in astrology. So even though he's not living in Beijing, but he did go to Beijing, he had to deal with power, and his destiny is tied intrinsically to Beijing, China.
Where is he now?
He's in northern India.
Oh.
Yeah, he moved there in the late 1950s.
Wow, he must be up there in age right now.
He is, not a young guy.
I would love to interview him.
Yeah, boy. Well, he's been to the Northwest several times.
Oh, yeah, let me know if he comes back.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah, that's fascinating.
Yeah, so that's basically how it works. And you can use it for vacationing. You can use it, I have people who use it for business. For example, I've got a client who, he's an inventor. He invented a product. And he used these maps to decide where he was going to manufacture his invention, whether he was going to use China or Indonesia in this case.
So this is very helpful, really.
It's a very practical tool. And the beauty of it is, like in the consultation I do, I mix various techniques. I call it earth lines because I've packaged together some different techniques. But good for life. Shows you your power zones, even if you don't. Now, this is kind of a, I don't know what, I don't know what we'll call this story, but I had a guy come to the office and, a couple of guys joking around, like the guys joke around, and I go, oh, you should go to Russia. You have the Venus line, which is a marriage line. Go find a wife in Russia, I told him. And his face turned beet red, and he said, in 3 weeks, I'm going to Russia. I've been interviewing mail-order brides.
Oh, my goodness.
And so he didn't want to tell me that because he was embarrassed. And I just was joking with him because I knew he was looking for a relationship. and here he had a marriage line in Russia.
Did he know that?
Not before he came. He was already planning to go there, was the reason he came in for the consultation.
So he got lucky.
Well, I would like to think that there's some sort of a cosmic... I don't believe in coincidences, but there was a coming together.
I like to believe that, I want to ask you a question about this astrocartography, because is it the same as, like, I've lived in different places. I've lived in 3 different countries and lived in 3 different states, and some places I really like. For instance, I'll tell you, I was born in the British Isles, and I do love it there because all my family's there.
Sure.
But out of college, I went to Germany to live, and I said, oh my God, I feel like I'm home. I just feel so at home in Germany.
Yeah, and there are lines that are what we call the 4th house cusp. That's kind of, think of midnight, okay? that's the home and family place in an astrology chart. So there are lines that represent where am I going to feel more at home.
Yeah.
And then there's other lines that are more career-oriented, others that are more relationship-oriented, and others that are self-oriented.
So without getting my chart done, I just felt so comfortable. And then
Yeah.
you said something about the East Coast and the West Coast. I lived on the East Coast, nothing against it, but I do not feel I
Yeah.
belong there. I
Yeah.
like the West Coast, but on the West Coast, I narrowed down even more. I love Oregon, I've lived here
Yeah.
most of my life, but I don't particularly like this area. I love Central Oregon.
Yeah.
I feel my soul wants to be in the mountains, cooler climate. Is that part of my line?
Sure, and there are...
Or part of my past
Yeah,
life?
yeah.
Maybe I was Heidi in another lifetime, I don't know.
That's the part you have to think about.
Yeah.
Is the astrology is one piece,
Yeah.
but then there's also the energy of the area. Some people like drier climates, some people
Yes.
like wetter climates.
Yeah, I like-
Some people like seasons.
Yeah, I like seasons and I like cold.
So you have those
Snow.
personal factors too,
Yeah.
but the thing I can deal with is the astrological piece.
Okay, so if I told you what I like and then I gave you, but I'm not sure exactly what time I was born, that's the only problem.
Well, in which case, what you do is you write to the Department of Vital Statistics or county records.
In the British Isles?
Oh, well, that could be a problem. I don't know how they do it. In the United States, the records are kept
Yeah.
at the county
Yeah,
seat
see, I
where you were
wasn't born here, yeah.
Well, we also have problems with military births because
Yeah.
their birth data is stuck in some microfiche in some dank basement.
Well, I do have an
somewhere.
aunt I can ask her next time I go to Britain.
Yeah, and if she can get it close, we have
Yeah.
techniques that we can help
Oh, wow.
adjust a little
Yeah.
bit. But that is one of the flaws of this system, is it
Yeah,
does
the
require
time.
fairly accurate birth
Yeah, I
time.
know exactly where I was born, but,
Yeah.
oh, I'll figure that. It's
and-
nobody's problem but
and
mine.
at the higher latitudes, as where you were born, the error factor gets bigger because of the
Yeah.
curvature of the Earth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we'll find out.
Yeah.
Any closing statements? I mean, astrology, this is such a big topic. We'll have to do another interview. But the astrocartography, a brief story is I had some friends who came to one of my shows on astrocartography, and they were told to go to Australia. Anyway, they were actually in New Zealand, and they just love it. I mean,
Yeah.
they're a married couple, and they took it to heart. It took about 10 years to get there, but...
Yeah, that's beautiful. It's my best lines are in Europe. You know, and I love
me
going to
too.
Europe.
I love going
but,
to Europe.
I haven't found the way to live there yet.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
Yeah, no, I feel very, well, of course, since I was born there, but I just feel very attached to Europe, too.
Yeah, and see, that's it for everybody, is you'll feel drawn to certain
Yeah,
places.
yeah.
And maybe you just have to go vacation there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the beauty of this is almost everything in astrocartography is good for the rest of your life. And, you know, as we go through life, sometimes maybe the East Coast was better for you at the time you were there,
Yeah.
because there's also things going on in your chart, what we call
Yeah.
transits and progressions, that...
Well, I was a child. My parents took me there.
Yeah, well...
But that's okay. I went to school there. I love the school I went to.
Yeah.
And good things happened to me, and
Yeah.
nothing bad happened to me there. But I just resonate more on the West Coast that you know.
Well, and see, that's the part of it. One, you've got the astrology piece, and the other, you have what do you resonate with, because there are cultural differences between the East and West Coast.
I never thought of that. It's very complicated.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's very exciting.
And then you can even make it more complicated.
Yeah.
Each state and each city has a sun and moon sign.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, on my website that you mentioned, astromark.us,
Yeah.
there's a free PDF download with the zodiac sign of states and cities for the United
Oh,
States.
that's great. We're going to give out that information so people can get your free newsletter.
Yeah.
And you give talks, you give classes, so we'll make sure people will be able to contact you.
Great, thank you, thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. Like I said, we'll have to do another. There's so much about astrology. I mean, it's exciting, and I feel it's a science in a way. I mean, like I said, the moon affecting the water, and
Yeah.
anyway.
It's a massive topic. People
Yeah.
who think astrology is what they see
Yeah.
in the comic section every day
No, yeah.
are missing the boat.
But I want to make one comment. The thing I got from you that I didn't think about was that it's you have control over your life. You can just take the high road or the low road, like you
Yeah.
said with Pluto, and you can take this. It
Yeah.
gives this energy, but you can react a certain way with that energy.
And if you're aware of what those choices are that are coming into
Yeah.
your life, sometimes it's easier to make the better choice
When you, yeah, when
you're awareness, because if you're not, you can be an emotionally reactive behavior.
exactly. So you know ahead of time this is
Yeah.
coming. That's great. That's a great comment. Should we end with that? That's really good.
Sounds like a good place to
Okay.
stop.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank
you
you.
so much. I know you're very busy, and I appreciate the time.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for watching Pauline Interviews. And if you like our show, please tell your friends and family about us. And if you really like it, please subscribe. Thanks a lot.